Hello and welcome to Ketter Farms. We're back with another episode of Lincoln, Nebraska, and we've got all of the equipment up here at the new field 24. We're going to finish off the rest of our soybeans today, but we brought the pickup up here so that we could get everything refueled. We were running low on fuel here, and so we need to top off some of these combines to make sure that they can keep running here. So I'm going to get this truck pulled out of the way here now that we've topped this guy off, and we'll get this combine moving so that we've got some room to get the rest of this equipment off the edge of the road and into the field. Luckily, we've got some nice wide ditches here that are fairly flat, so that's allowed us to at least temporarily stage our equipment here off the road. Now, this bean field should be in pretty good shape here. We were experimenting with a lot of the herbicide stuff in this field, but it looks like that all worked out for us successfully because I don't see any weeds anywhere in this field. And much like the other field we are going to run with the straw swathing on, I'm just clearing a little bit of a path so that we can generate a course play course. And we're going to have the start point be right here on our left side. We're going to make sure we have two tools selected, and we are going to try and go for the two headland passes here. So course play doesn't like the fact that I went and forced it to the long edges, but we don't care. We're going to do it anyway. And we're going to go ahead and just set this guy up to do the leftmost course here. Kick him off and see how he does. We're going to keep a vehicle convoy on as usual. And I think he's going to be off to the races here. Everything looks good. So let's grab this other combine, get it fired up here. We're going to need actually to fill up the fuel here as well. I think we're going to do it right here on the road. We do have traffic off, and it's a nice flat road. There's good visibility here for a while. So there's plenty of room to get around us as long as it's not something big coming down the road. And this thing refills nice and fast. It looks like, though, we've probably pulled all of the fuel out of the pickup here. So let's jump back into here and check. Yep, we've got all the diesel out of the pickup. So I'm just going to park the pickup over here by the trees. It should be out of the way over here. It was handy that we had that in there, especially with where our finances are right now. We'll need to take that loan out here soon. We've been just putting it off for as long as we can. And this should actually work out really well to get the header hooked up here while we're on the road. Get everything unfolding here. And much like the other field, we're going to save this course so we can come back and do it later with the baler. We're going to have this guy start at the first waypoint on the right-hand side. And since the starting point for the course is so far up here, I'm going to go ahead and just grab this corner here manually so that we're not running stuff over. And then now that we're up here, I can hit drive course. And I expect this is going to go without any problems here. Good deal. So I'm going to let him take off here, do his thing, and we're going to get the grain cart into the field here, get that running. We're going to need to go empty that lead combine here in a little bit. It's soybeans after all, though, so we're not in a terrible hurry. And I want to get that semi pulled up here somewhere that we can load it a little bit easier. I'm not sure we're going to pull it all the way into the field. We might leave it alongside the road here. So let's see if we can find a good position for that. Well, until we get a little bit more space, I think we're going to have it set up right here along the edge of the road. We can load on the road. We just don't got a lot of room in this corner here right now. And I didn't really want to drive over all of the soybean straw here. So we're going to go with that. So we're going to race out here and I think actually unload this rear combine while we're here. The other combine's kind of down in that corner, which is really a bit painful to get down next to him and unload. So we're going to wait until he's out of the corner there to try and do that. And we're going to make the attempt to unload this guy around a curve, which is always a bit painful here. But we seem to be tackling it. And he looks to be about empty, so I'm going to speed up here and get out of his way as he takes care of the corners here. And we're going to see if we can catch up with our lead combine as he gets on the straight rows here. Somebody was commenting in the last video, it's kind of awkward that the combine... Ooh, we missed all the corners. I must have set the wrong turn mode, but it's kind of awkward that the ground textures disappear as soon as you harvest it. That is a function of how some of the ground texture stuff works in Farm Sim, unfortunately. And look at this, we're going to have problems with telephone poles here, so let's see if we can unload a little bit and then go around a telephone pole. Oh, this is a bad idea. He's not going to get his auger in before he hits the pole. We got to move out of the way. There we go. Yep, this is not a great spot to unload a combine. I mean, if he stopped to unload maybe, but we're not going to get there in time. We're like going to unload a few bushels and then have to run away before his auger hits the telephone pole. All right, we're going to hope that I got enough bushels out of there to get him to the end of the field here. I know the rear combine's going to have enough, so we'll just park here and see how he's looking as he comes up next to us. Maybe I'll try and back up a little bit here. So we managed to sneak a little bit of an unload in on that lead combine on the other end of the field. And we're going to come back here and empty this guy again on the long row here, just to make sure he's got the capacity for his cut through up here. And hopefully I'll be able to catch that lead combine once he turns around after the cut through and get him emptied. I'm really hoping he makes it to the other end of the field. The only concern is this is kind of a long field, not a really long field. So I think he'll be fine. We didn't get him completely emptied out, so he's got to be getting full at some point here, I'm worried. But we've got this guy mostly emptied out here. So let's get whipped around here. We're going to take the road up to the far end of the field and catch our lead combine. Oh man, I can see the soybeans starting to pile up here in the grain tank. I'm thinking he's over 80% because his flashers are on, so as soon as he gets turned around here, assuming he turns right back into the same row like I expect, we're going to be getting him unloaded. And we'll probably have about enough to dump some into the truck. I just remembered that the truck has already got a fair amount of beans in it from the other field, so we're just kind of looking to top that truck off here shortly and get it going back to the farm. There we go, all lined up. I'm really liking this farm equipment setup. The equipment works wonderfully. These big case combines, they just crank through the fields. Good times. And the pipes are nice and long so that you're not feeling like you're cramped up against the header trying to unload. In fact, I'm probably closer than I need to be right now. Looks like we've emptied the combine here. Our grain cart is actually starting to get a little bit full. I don't think we've filled this thing up yet in this series. So that's cool. We're getting lots and lots of material here. I am going to swing around and just unload what we can from this combine as long as I'm here. I want to make sure we keep these guys moving because once we head back up here to empty, we're going to be dealing with getting the truck sent back up to the yard and all that stuff. So it's easier for us to do it now while we're here. Get this thing topped off. We pop our HUD back up. Yeah, we're at 81, 82% soybeans here. Looks like the combine's empty, so we're going to stop here, let him pass us. And then we will see about unloading into this semi here on the road. We do have to be careful with all these telephone poles, though, along the road. We've definitely didn't consider that when we were setting up everything and thinking about where we could and couldn't unload. I do like the pipe options on this grain cart. It works out really well. You've got a lot of flexibility with where you can move the pipe and the spout, so I've not had any problems unloading this thing into the semi here. And it's got a nice fast unload speed. Big auger on this grain cart. Definitely one of my favorite grain carts so far. Well, I guess we didn't have as much in the grain truck as I anticipated because it's not full yet. In fact, it's probably a little bit over half full. Let's hop out real quick and take a look at that. Yeah, we're at 67%, so one more big grain cart full like that, and we should be able to get that thing going. So I'm going to run down here to the end of the field. We'll unload the lead combine here as he turns around and see if we can get another load out here and into this grain truck real quick. Alright, so we have finally got another mostly full grain cart here. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can top off this semi now. I'm hoping with over 1,000 bushels here in the grain cart that we'll be good to go. It looks like we're starting to fill this thing up here, which is perfect. We are going to need just a little bit more truck space here to get all of this field back up to the farm, it looks like. But we are getting pretty close to done with this field. So it's going to be close. I'm trying to decide, like, we probably could get it to all fit into the grain cart. I'm just not sure I want to load the grain cart back up to the farm full of beans. So we'll have to think about that, but we're going to leave this thing here in the field for a second and go ahead and get this truck sent back up to the farm. It is nice having the auto drive courses, even though we haven't automated this at this point. Even just driving things back to locations is a huge time saver for us. I mean, look at that, it's 7 minutes to get back up to the farm, and that's assuming that we're gonna go 74 miles an hour. We'll probably turn this down a bit. I don't like going much over 55. It tends to lead to various crashes and different things. So we're gonna set the speed limit for auto drive back down here to 55 and keep things reasonable. So it looks like our lead combine is already done here in the field, and our other combine is on his last pass here. So we're going to go ahead and I guess see if we can unload the rear combine here as he goes along these last short rows. He is going to have to jump over to the other side short rows as well here at some point, so this could get a little bit interesting as we go around these trees in this corner. I think he's going to curve inward here in a second, but actually it looks like I've unloaded everything in his hopper, so we'll just let him figure out how to get over here for these last few feet and unload our lead combine and get that packed up and sent up to the farm. We're all done with beans here, and it's time to get switched over for corn, which I'm very excited about. So we're going to take this combine here down to the road. We're going to use the other one to clean everything up since I already took the header off, but I just want to get him on the road here and send him on his way with auto drive. He's got a long trek back up to the farm here, and we'll go ahead and stop this other course play driver. I think this corner down here by the power station is really the only one that we had any real issues with. We seem to have missed a fair amount of the corners down here just due to the oddity of this part of the field. So we can just grab these real quick. It's not going to be a ton of beans, but we did end up on this end of the field with the combine, so we might as well just do what we can. I am going to turn off the straw swathing though, because I don't want to make a mess of a lot of different little straw piles that we're not going to do anything with here. So with that, I think we've got everything picked up here from the corner. We're going to go ahead and drop the last 7 bushels of our beans here into the grain cart. And looking at this grain cart, there's actually not that much in there. So I think I am feeling more confident with roading that back up to the farm with just a handful of bushels in it. Shouldn't be a big deal. So we're going to get the combine all folded up and drop this header off over here. See if we can get set up to road this back up to the farm. And he's off to the farm. The combines are going to take 9.5 minutes to get back up there, which is not unexpected. A lot more road time for a combine than there is for a semi-truck for sure. So we're going to get our covers closed up here with our handy dandy electric cover. This thing is awesome. I love the animation on this. It looks great. I haven't spent the time to figure out how this thing actually works in Giants Editor, but it works really cool. I love that you can unfurl a tarp like that. I didn't even know that was a possibility. Most things just kind of open and close, so I'm really curious to see how that all works out at some point. So one of these days I will have to dig into this mod. However, we're going to get this guy headed back up to the farm here. 8.5 minutes for this guy, and we can't forget about our pickup truck here, which we brought out to fuel up the combine. So let me see if I can get this guy moving down the road before our tractor catches up with us here. There we go. So we're back up at the yard here, and our semi is ready to go. So I'm going to take this over, get it dumped into our bean bin here, and kind of see where we're at. I'm really curious to get a handle on our total harvest amount for the year. The soybeans are always some quick money in that you can take a couple loads up and see the effect in your bank account real quick. Corn is a lot more volume, so we've got to make a lot more trips before the money starts showing up in the bank in a big way. And so I always like hauling soybeans up to sell them. We've got to get this semi lined up just a smidge better here. And unfortunately, the dump trigger, I have to get just a smidge further back than I'd prefer for dumping into this. So our tire clips through the hopper here just a little bit, but that's farm sim for you. I guess I could probably edit the trigger to be a little bit wider, but this works out really well. So let's take a look here. So I like this. We've got the dumping animations. We've got beans in the hopper. The augers are moving. The grain is flowing up there on the top. Let's take a look and see. We've got 127,000 liters in here already. Lots of soybeans moving into this bin. We're definitely going to push into the double percentage here. But as you can see, we've got just an enormous amount of capacity here on the farm. We put some pretty big bins down. And it looks like our truck is definitely able to dump faster than the auger is keeping up with us here, which is what you would expect from a big trailer like this. But we're almost done here with the beans. Ooh, I like that it even fills up over the grate over time. That's pretty cool. So we're going to leave this truck here, though, because once the grain cart gets back up to the farm, we're going to dump into the truck and then use the truck to dump into the auger. So let's run back over here to the farmyard and see if our stuff is starting to show up yet. It looks like a combine just reached the farm. So our grain cart and all the rest of our equipment has made its way back up here to the farm. So we're going to get this thing over here and unload our beans. Now, I got to be careful not to drive over any of these open trucks with the pipe out. I know somebody suggested the mod for manually unload or something like that. I definitely need to look into that because it always bugs me when the beans just start coming out of the grain cart here on its own. But we've got just a few bushels here, a couple hundred bushels. Should be enough to bump this thing up to another percent on the bin, I think here. We've got, what, 190,000 soybeans in here already. 13% of the bin is full. So let's see where we get when we dump this into here. Get this all emptied out, and we can do the calculation on total number of soybeans here. 200,900 liters of soybeans, which if we look here in the HUD is a total of 5,701 bushels. So that's a fair amount of beans to come off of those two small-ish fields. And that matches up nicely with our almost 2,000 bushels of sunflowers. And if I come over here and look, just dried so far and in the bin, we've got 260 bushels of dry corn. So let's check on that here real quick. And our dryer is still running here, which is good. We've got a fair amount of corn drying here still. We've got more dried than is left to dry, which is a good spot to be in. So let's go ahead and empty this into the grain truck. We've got about 300 bushel here to go. And you can see the dryer has animations. The auger does not have any animations into this truck. I don't know if that's the auger or the way that the truck fill plane is, but it's not the dryer that doesn't animate there. So we'll have to look into what we can do to fix that at some point. We've got dry corn here, though, that needs to go into the bin. And that means we need to move our auger and get that all set up again. We're going to tackle that next episode here. We've got all of our beans done. We're ready to switch over to corn and really get going on harvest here. So hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, drop a like. It helps me out immensely. That's all for today. Keterk out. Oh, seriously, Courseplay, we almost made it to the end of the field. Why are you doing this to me? Why? Stop, driver. I should blame myself. These angled rows.